Right, here we are outside in the sunshine so I can work on my tan. We're also in the breeze, so apologies for any wind noise on the microphone. I do not have a windshield. I do not have a separate microphone. It's just the one that's stuck on the camera. It's also not very good as a camera. I could do with a higher resolution one. Right, 2 bits of wood. We've got a bit of thin ply and a bit of tongue and groove. So groove on one side, tongue on that side. So the idea is I'm going to make an adapter, a 3-phase, 3-way electrical extension block, but it's not going to be an extension, it's just going to be the adapter part of it with a plug on it, so you plug your own extension in it. I'm also going to mount the starter switch that you've seen in the previous video and an RCD to possibly protect people from electric shocks. So that bit of tongue and groove, and that's just a bit of thin something or other. It's not even plywood, it's one plywood. Don't laugh at my jokes, they're not funny. So that is going to be the front panel, and that is going to be the sides and possibly the back. I can get my hand out. It's not going to be this big, it's going to be big enough for what I need. So if I make some arrangements on the front of here, you can see the ideas I'm having. So first of all, 3 single phase outputs. 1, 2, 3. Three phase outputs. 1, 2, 3. Are you getting all of this? Or am I not even on the damn job? 3 single phase outputs, standard UK sockets. 3 3-phase outputs, 5 pin. So you got your 3 phases, neutral and earth. On top of that, I'm going to add 3 ammeters. So I can keep an eye on the current coming out of the generator. And then alongside that, starter you've seen in other video. And then finally on the end, an RCD for protection. Then finally, the thing that I've not yet got is a socket to go on the end where my foot is for electrical input. So it's a case of measuring up and cutting the bits of wood now to make an enclosure to put all the wiring in and wire everything up together. I suspect making all the cuts to fit all these bits and pieces and the wiring up is going to be fairly boring, so I think I'll do that off camera with short clips of part progress as and when I feel it's worth it. So here's my long plank that I'm going to use for the four sides of this box I'm making. I've already marked along here, so I've got one long side to there, a second long side to there, a short side to there, and a second short side to there, and that leaves that end piece as unwanted for this. So it's just now a case of getting the saw going and cutting off the bits I don't want, or making those saw cuts. That's one done. And you thought I was going to use that other saw, didn't you? I prefer this one because it's got teeth on it. So this is my panel, breakout box, or I don't know what to call it really, but this is what it's going to look like. I've cut the holes in the wood, I've fitted various bits and pieces that you can see. The ammeters are actually fitted properly. The sockets are just resting in situ, still to be screwed in, and the plugs and sockets along the bottom are just there for show. They're not attached at all. So that's one thing I need to attach. So let's just have a look at that. And as you can see, if we zoom in here, I need circles cutting into the wood to fit the sockets. Using the gasket there as a guide for the circle size. Just arrived. So let's open the box. And see what we've got in there. And we have one of those. One hole saw. And if I've got it right, it should be just the job for cutting out holes. We also have in the box an arbor for the saw, which has a centre drill and a thread to mount the cutter on. So that screws don't know whether you can see that, but that's threaded, and that's threaded in the back of there, and that screws onto there, and then inside there are 4 holes. If I line those up with those pins there, I can then turn the knob on the back and the pins extend to lock that onto that thread. There also appears to be a locking screw there, so I'll turn that as well. Let's see what best fit I can get. It's clearly going to take quite a bit of effort to drive this, so fortunately the back end of it is hexagonal, so it'll fit the drill and give a positive drive in a typical Jacob's chuck or that kind of thing. So we just need to go make some holes now. So here we have the panel front, and now I'm going to add a random hole to it somewhere in there. Now just get the drill out and then we're done with that. And then I'm going to make the hole a bit bigger. And yes, I'm using a masonry bit. Is this hole still in focus? and through. Like that. I bet you weren't expecting that. Welcome to the Anti-Muppet Labs, where today we're going to test this RCD, ground current fault interrupter, as the Americans call it, or something like that, GCFI. This is quite an old one, super switch, but not to worry, it's got all the right ingredients on it. 3-pin plug, 3-pin socket, test and reset, and an indicator. So let's just plug this in and give it a test. So I have this power lead coming out of the kitchen sink to this socket, and we'll just plug this here thing in like that, and press the button. We should get red indication in there, and the test trips it out. Unlike others, this also has a no volt release, which you just heard it click out there when I turned the supply off to this extension lead. Now, these things, screwdriver, trip the power on these two if power leaks to earth. Right, let's disconnect the earth on this cable and see whether the trip works. So now on the plug to my extension, the earth wire is disconnected, and I shall plug it back in. So the power is on again, so it should reset and show red, but there's no earth supply to this now, so the test button should not trip because it cannot. It did do. Let's do that again. So how is it testing it? It's a false test because there's no circuit to earth. So here's the RCD that I'm going to fit to the generator circuits. And as you can see, we've got neutral and 3 lives for the 3 phases. No earth. So how is this test button supposed to test? Because it's not testing the earthing of downstream equipment, which is required for the RCD to trip in actual real use. And that is why it's recommended that generators have the earth connected to the neutral at the generator so that it will trip RCDs. But if this has got a test button and no earth connection, it can't test that the earth is connected to the neutral back at the generator or power source. So these test buttons are fake, and that has been proven by another YouTuber, I'll think of his name eventually, who found that an RCD would not trip on a test performed by a test meter, but would trip on the test button because the buttons don't test correctly. So don't rely on the fact that the thing trips when you press that button, because it's not properly tested RCDs. And that's all from the Muppet Labs, or the anti-Muppet Labs, because the Muppets that have made this thing, that's why I'm saying it's Muppets. So yes, manufacturer of RCDs are Muppets, because they haven't a bloody clue what they're doing. Having just decided that the test button doesn't work, then it's no good, is it? So let's remove it. There you go, it's removed. That was easy. Just got a little hole to fill in now. Right, you've just seen me using this drill to drill a hole in a wall with a masonry bit to fit the box that's got the connection on the power line to the workshop. So now I'm going to convert this into a vertical drill. Like so. And there we have a vertical bench drill. So I'm going to give the slides an oil, and then we'll get on and maybe do some work with it. So I think we'll call this one Machining by Mike, because it's the first time I'm using a machine in the sense of the expression we expect. Drilling holes. That's one. I'll poke the flipping piece out now, haven't I? First time I've used that. Now for the next one. Two down, two more to go, but I'll not film the other two. Well, it's been a bit of a funny video, this one. Clips of this, clips of that. Nothing in any great detail. I decided that cutting holes in wood, putting screws in, and generally titting about like that isn't particularly interesting. There's nothing special to see. So I'm going to end this video here because the box is now pretty much complete. It is all assembled, although you will note some connectors are not attached, and that is because the next job is wiring the whole thing up inside. And to do that, the connectors need to be off the box so you can access the screws on the terminals to install the wiring. So I'm going to end this video here due to the length of it, although it's not excessively long. But the next step is going to be wiring the box up inside, and for that I'm going to put all of that in a separate video, as there's going to be some interesting features going into the wiring which might interest people. So that could be a 20-minute video just on the electrical side. So you'll have to come back for that one, which will be a video in the future. Time wise, not too far in the future. Numbers wise, could be about video number 9, I think. So that's all for this week, this video. So do watch me again in another video where I carry on with the whole project. So feel free to like, subscribe, notify yourself, all the rest of it, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.